media releases and all these things. Now university people have joined. Meeting settings. It is live, but there is no provision. The the gentleman at the console, can you give me the permission to record, or should I go like this? It is live, but I do not know whether it is being recorded or not. Are you able to listen to me? If you are listening, I will carry on with this like this only.
Yes, sir. We are able to hear you.
Okay. The functions of a PR agency we are discussing. You will list them out. Yes. Yes, please. One-to-one interviews, interaction with the top executives, giving story ideas to journalists, managing promotional events, press release writing, speech writing, preparing briefs, tracking the media, managing media relations, conducting stakeholder research to gauge public opinion, counseling, advising the organization, advising the management in times of crisis, managing social media on behalf of the company. Social media has gained much importance these days. Other media relations apart, social media relations are very much important, and especially the people are being recruited for being social media relations. Building reputation through strategic use of communication, lobbying, though lobbying is not legal profession in India, but it is happening. But elsewhere in USA and Western countries, it is an important function of a PR agency for its clients. Large companies have often have their internal PR departments, but they also engage PR firms to outsource the certain of the things that are helping the organization or helping the client in internal communication also, not only external. Preparing of house journals. Maybe house journals is the job of the very internal PR department, but sometimes it is also outsourced to the PR agency in case the internal PR department is not equipped with that kind of skill. Layout designing and printing of annual reports and all corporate publications. Editing and production of corporate publications is the job of a PRO. And financial communication, sometimes it is also outsourced to PR agencies. Customer relations management, and when the companies come out for IPOs and shares issues, financial advertisement campaigns, all these things. Over the years, one has seen top of the league firms engaging in research also into the profession and also predict the trends, what will happen. And with the help of the predicts and with the help of research reports, the client, that is the organization that outsourced the PR agencies or consultancies, can mend their ways, can adapt to the situation and act accordingly. In the year 2011-12, for instance, MSL is a PR agency, 2020, in academic collaboration with the Indian Institute of Mass Communication. You know what is Indian Institute of Mass Communication? It's a government of India media unit. It extends education programs at postgraduate level in English and Hindi. It has its headquarters in Delhi and 5 other IIMC centers in other states across the states in India. So MSL group also conducted a study in the state about PR in India. It reflected in understanding the public relations industry in India, challenges, opportunities, and 2012 outlook. That was their work. And some of the important insights of that study report are a misunderstanding of the size of India's PR industry, hiding the on-the-ground realities and core issues. That was the one thing pointed out by the study. A serious Indian talent crunch, stunted by a more lucrative in-house corporate communication sector, increasing the demand and supply. Lack of understanding of PR can play a strategic role. A vital need for PR firms to offer integrated communications, as the line between PR, advertising, and digital is beginning to blur. these are all the issues pointed out by this study report. Specialty communications such as niche PR, engagement through social media, and employer branding to be recognized as growth focus areas for PR agencies. These are all the areas pointed out. And the PR departments and also PR agencies outside working independently, they have started realizing and adopted the suggestions made by the study report. And if you look at the in-house PR department versus PR agencies, the advantages and disadvantages, they have been listed here. The PR agency entry at the firm could be at the graduate level. If you want to join, somebody wanted to join in the PR agency, it can be a graduate level. But in an in-house PR agency, in-house PR department, because that is an internal organization of a department or an organization or a company, PSU, or even a government department, public sector undertaking, even corporations like GHMC. If a PR person is to be taken as an employee, as a PRO, CPRO, PR executive, APRO, whatever is the designation, manager public relations, manager corporate communication, a graduate in public relations, a graduate in mass communication, graduate in journalism, graduate in advertising, graduate in some other things, business management, communication, education, and also a few years, maybe 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years experience. On the other hand, if you look at the PR agency, proponents of PR consultancy opine that working in a consultancy provides them with the opportunity to deal with diverse portfolios, issues, and sectors, but in-house experts have an edge as they are focused in their approach. On the other hand, PR agencies will deal many accounts, that means claims. But in in-house PR department, it is doing the same thing repeatedly every time. Supposing a journal is to be prepared, if it is a periodical of a monthly or bi-monthly or a quarterly, in doing so, improving upon them each time they put their hands in. There are several other advantages and disadvantages. What are the advantages of having a PR agency? What are the advantages in having a PR exclusive department within the organization? And services offered by a PR firm, if you look at it, Dennis Wilcox, in his book, Public Relations Strategies and Tactics, he has elicited some of the functions of PR firm. They are nothing but the functions of a PRO, functions of a PR manager, if he performs from within an organization. PR agency also does the same thing. So marketing communication is one function, research and evaluation is another function, crisis communication is. These are all the duties and responsibilities. These are all the functions. These are all the responsibilities that already discharged by a PRO within the department, located or stationed, employed by the department. Also the discharged by PR agencies, but they have been listed here by Dennis Wilcox. And media analysis is one function, community relation, maintaining relations with the community around or community related is one function, event management is another function, practicing public affairs, branding and corporate reputation, financial relations, and these are all the things. And let us look at the two important functionaries of a PR agent. That is, one is account executive and the other one is creative director. Account executive, who is this account executive? Maybe CEO is there, president is there, many VPs are there, but one among the VPs is account executive. One among the VPs must be a creative director or below his rank, whatever be the rank. Account executive means a PR agency hire account executives to handle different accounts simultaneously. An account executive holds a middle level position in the hierarchy of designations and roles. An account executive is the contact point. This is very important. An account executive in a PR agency, firm, or consultancy is the contact point between that PR external agency and the department or the organization that hires the services of this agency. His roles and functions include generating media buzz for the company and promote the claim through news media, Media relations forms an integral part of the account executive duties. For this, it is important that account executive is well versed with all media. What is media? Print, electronic, social media, etc., etc. And the job includes not just drafting media coverage, not just drafting media releases, press notes. Earlier, it used to be called as press notes because earlier there was only press, printing press. Thereafter radio came, thereafter television came. Therefore, it is called not simply press note, but not simply press release. Now it is called media note or media release. So this is the difference between press note. There is no difference. It is only coverage. Earlier it was only for the print. It will go to the press. Therefore, press note or press release. Now it is media note or media release. But still people call it press note and press release or press conference, not media conference. So for this, it is important that the account executive is well versed with all the kinds of media and not just drafting the reports, not just drafting the media reports or media releases. The account executive is also expected to have a wide knowledge of the industry, of the business, of the client, that is the organization that engages this PR agency. Once the campaign is implemented, the responsibility of the media relations will also come, and he is responsible for reporting everything to the organization. Now look at the creative director. Creativity is the hallmark in public relations practice, and for that matter, any function, any management. So this creative director is also called a visualizer. He visualizes the things. Copyright is another term. Copyright is the one who writes the copy. Copy does not mean copying. Original thing copying is not the copy. Copy means creating a draft that will be made into a final thing that becomes the output. So a copywriter and a visualizer and all put into one is called creative department, and creative director is head of this particular thing. You look at any advertising, there must be some srujanatmakata, creativity. The words composed in, the sentences, the slogans, which can be recalled by anybody after seeing repeatedly, and the visuals, these are all called creativity. If you are inspired by everything and enjoy inspiring others, being a creative in PR is a pretty great job. Because they say public relations is nothing but an art of storytelling. Story, brand. A brand is a story that needs to be told again and again. This is the saying. A brand is a story. What is brand? Brand is a product. What is product? Product was earlier a goods or a service. A goods or service renamed as product and again renamed as a brand, and now it is also called a story. If you have a brand, you have a product that becomes a story, you have to tell to the targeted people about your story repeatedly every time until they adopt it. Adoption process is different. Adoption process is also different. I think you might have come in one of the papers you are studying or are already studied in first year. A story could be in the form of an article, a news feature. The content remains the driving force. Content remains the driving force. One of the 7 C's of communication. 7 C's of communication is content. People say content is the king. Keep it in mind that there must be a content in it. If there is no content, there is no public relations at all. There is no communication at all if there is no content. It is the role of the creative director becomes important for the simple reason that he has to understand how to drive the narrative, that is story, and deliver it in the most effective manner. There are 2 reasons why PR firms look for a creative person. Firstly, it is the PR is a 360-degree communication, and every communication ought to be 360 degrees. The ad creative rendition is not enough to hold the campaign for a longer duration. There must be a creativity added to it. Added to the content, there must be a creativity. Then how to select a PR agency? How to select? The agency should have an in-depth understanding of the claims. Such agency should be selected. The relationship between the client and the agency must be established and then continued for the better output. And how you have to look before selection of a PR agency, the organization will have to look at the PR agency before hiring them. How professional is that external agency in delivering the services you want? And finally, what is the company's budget? Because money matters everywhere. Dhanam moolam idam jagat. For everything, cut according to the cloth, quote according to the cloth. So you have some money, you select something, and you will adjust everything within your budget. You have 10 crores, you will go for a good villa. If you have 1 crore, you will go for a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom flat. If you have only 50 lakhs, you will go for in an apartment, a 1 bedroom. So this is according to the budget. Same is the case everywhere. You have so much of money, you go for several things. You have limited money, you go for a limited purpose. Iqbal Sachdeva is a writer of public relations, this thing. And in his book, Public Relations Principles and Practices, he says, while selecting a PR agency, a company management has to take into consideration many factors and aspects, since the agency thenceforth will work in tandem with the company, almost like an integral part, though it is an external agency. But if you enter into an agreement with the PR agency for the services you want, you both have to work in tandem and like an integral part of the organization. It is only appropriate to go through all the pros and cons of the proposal and the professional profile of the agency. Due care also needs to be taken if the agency's size and resources are compatible with the stature, nature, and size of the business the company is involved in. Now, how the PR agency and client relations ought to be. Objectivity, professionalism, and good chemistry between the agency, team, and the client defines the relationship between the agency and the client. Clients expect quality work, that is me, and as an organization, though I have internal PR department, I have CPRO, PR, and all these things. As a client, I am engaging a PR agency. I am a client. Being a client, I expect quality work and competent staff, efficient delivery of message to the key audience, successful implementation of the strategies or a campaign, or whatever it is, be it exhibition or a radio campaign or a video campaign, whatever be the case. Companies such as Wipro ask their agencies to help them understand how best to communicate their messages and present them in a context that is meaningful for clients, analysts, investors, and journalists. The relationship between the client and agency should strengthen further if the agency understands the nature of the business of the client. As one of the tasks of the agency is to keep the client informed day in and day out about the latest developments shaping the market and the particular industry. And having seen the relationship between the client and the agency, now let us move on to the scope of PR agencies in India. Tomorrow, after your MA in journalism and mass communication, you may either join as public relations practitioner, or you may join the media house, radio or newspaper, or television channel, or you can float your own PR agency or PR consultancy. If that is the case, what is the scope of PR agencies in India? Let us have a look at it. The profession saw the establishment of Public Relations Society of India. As you know, it is a 1958 organization, almost 65 years. Similarly, another organization, a splinter organization that broke away from PRSA, is called PRCI, that came into being in 2004. And several other organizations are there, like Association of Business Communicators of India, ABCI, that was also started in 1957. It was earlier the Bombay Industrial Newspapers Guild, that was renamed as ABCI, Association of Business Communicators of India. Another organization is called GFPR, Global Forum for Public Relations. But are all these things, among all these things, Public Relations Society of India has a big network, has thousands of members in it, and this is a pan-India professional organization. So it will not be the exaggeration to say that globalization of Indian economy in the 1990s gave its rightful place, not only because of the professional organization that is PRSA, but also 1990, 1991 LPG, and corporatization, and many companies, um, foreign companies coming to India and India going abroad. All this gave way for coming up of PR agencies or establishing of PR agencies in India. The emergence of multinational corporations on the scene, again, foreign direct investments, mergers, acquisitions, everything. PR was also increasingly seen as a launch pad. Therefore, there is a scope as a launch pad for brand building and crisis communication. This paves the way for creation or floating a PR consultancy. Public relations is a thriving profession in India. It is growing at 32% annual rate year on year. Supposing today it is 100%, today it is 100 crores. Next year it is growing into 130 crores and annual incremental growth. So this is all about PR agencies, external and in-house PR department, how the relations ought to be, who is account executive, who is the creative director, and what is the scope of PR agencies establishment and working within India. And if you summarize this lesson, to understand, it is important to know how the profession of public relations works in practice. It is also essential to understand how public relations agencies and consultancies function and how they differ from in-house PR departments. While a PR agency comes in all sizes, PR agencies are of any size. It can be a one-person company. That means very small, the medium, with a 10 or 15 or 50 people, 15, 20, 30 people, and a big consultancy, maybe having 100 people and service across the globe. It provides a wide spectrum of activities. Whereas in the in-house consultancy is limited to one brand, that is product or the service offered by the company. But many times due to limitations, a corporate has to take help, support from PR agents, especially in crisis situations, in media handling. One of the greatest advantages of that a PR agency offers is flexibility and resources. Hence, this lesson, in this lesson, we have discussed the structure and functions of PR firms. We made a comparative analysis of the roles and functions of in-house department as well as PR agency, and the roles of the PR agency's role, the role of account executive and the creative director. And with this, we move on to the next lesson. That is lesson number 7. We call unit number, we completed 7. We move on to lesson number 8. What is lesson number 8? Yes, please tell me. If you have
corporate public relations, sir. By corporate communications.
Block 4, it has 3 units. That is corporate public relations, corporate communications. Unit number 9 is corporate social responsibility. Unit number 10, public relations in private sector. Lesson number 9 and 10 we will discuss tomorrow, because it is already 11:20. In another 40 minutes, we will try to discuss lesson number 8, that is corporate public relations, corporate communication. What is it? What is that? What is the difference? What are the similarities? So corporate public relations, corporate communications. We'll look at the concept of organization. What is an organization? What is a company? What is a corporation? What is the difference between organization and corporation? Segmentation of publics and stakeholders. What is the phase of the corporate organization? What is corporate public relations, corporate communication? The difference. Elements of corporate public relations program and major areas of corporate public relations being employee relations, customer relations, financial public relations, community relations, global public relations, creating favorable public opinion, close monitoring, and then communication with the public. These are the contents of this unit. And let us go one by one. Corporate public relations aim at the building up of brand image of a corporate unit. Brand image. It chiefly aims at keeping the reputation of the corporate unit at a high esteem in the eyes of its publics. Corporate communications comprehend all communication activities that an organization undertakes. It also highlights the activities of the corporation. The corporate communications wing helps provide a free flow of communication between management and its stakeholders. Image always matters for any organization or even for an individual. And public relations is the best weapon in the management armory. You have an armory, you have arms and ammunition. Management has arms and, but public relations is a weapon, is the best weapon to deal with the public, to communicate with. That is the meaning. It means PR is the best weapon in the armory of the management to handle the image problem of the organization. Because public relations affects almost everyone in an organization, both internal and external, in one way or the other. The notable areas of corporate public relations are, let us list them out. One is corporate identity, we deal with employee relations, community relations, government relations, customer relations, media relations, and most importantly, the feedback mechanism between the organization and the targeted publics. General public is a myth in the practice of public relations because you cannot address your communication to everybody in the country, to everybody in the state, to everybody in the city. But you have to tailor-make your message to the public who have been already segmented. They are called specified public or targeted public. As there is a heavy competition among corporate organizations for public support, the public opinion towards an organization is very important because public opinion is the basis for anything to survive or for anything to perish. Either to cherish or to perish, public opinion plays a very important role. In this context, corporate public relations as a two-way communication tool play an important role to influence the public opinion in favor of the organization. What is the very job of the public relations practitioner is to establish and maintain mutual understanding between the organization and the public in order to influence the public opinion in favor of the organization. This is public relations. And if you look at the concept of organization or a corporation, now the definitions are there. What is an organization? An organization is an entity, an authority maybe, or a setup comprising multiple people, such as an institution is called an organization. An association is also called an organization that has a collective goal called vision and mission, aims, objects. These are all collective goals and is linked to an external environment. It will not operate on its own in the air. It is linked to external environment, definitely people and a place. A place can be confined to a town or a city or a state or a provision or a region or even the entire country, entire universe. So it is called external environment. Internally, it has a setup and it is connected or linked to the external environment. How it is linked, it depends upon the services and the products and the ideas it gives out. It wanted to give them out. It is also defined as an organization that is manned by a group of individuals who are working together towards a common goal. Different authors have defined organization in different ways. Let us have a look at one or two. According to Keith Davis, he says organization may be defined as a group of individuals, maybe large or small, that is cooperating under the direction of executive leadership in accomplishment of certain common. There is a hierarchy. There is a boss. There are subordinates. There are workers. So there must be a hierarchy and an organization will have a management. In that management, there is a boss and there is an executive leadership and the messages flow downwards. Of course, feedback will also be there that goes from downwards to the upwards. The dictionary meaning of a corporation goes like this. It is a large company or a group of companies authorized to act as a single entity and recognized as such in law. Organization, we are talking about corporation. The earlier definition was about organization. Now it is corporation. The corporation means it is recognized in such, as such in law. Incorporated. Therefore, it is called corporation. Otherwise, it is not, it is organization because it is incorporated as such according to a particular law. This is called corporation. It is also a group of people like organization, elected or nominated to govern a city or a town, just like GHMC or any other electric corporation, water board. These are all corporations, public utility organizations, or sometimes boards or sometimes corporations. GHMC is one such corporation. The word corporation derives from the corpus, the Latin word which means body. Corpus means body of people. Association of people or body of individuals. These are the two differences. What is association of people and what is body of individual? If association of people means there can be individuals, there can be organizations as members of this particular association, then it is called association of people. People are legal personalities also sometimes. Even God is a legal personality. Even association, supposing an organization is there, there are categories of membership like individual members, institutional members. What is this institution? That institution is also part of this association. Therefore, an association of people means both individuals and institutions. And body of individuals means only individuals get together, just like a residential welfare association, RWA, apartment owners association, the housing cooperative society, where only individuals will be there. Whatever it is, if they are incorporated, they can be called either if company law specifically or Societies Registration Act. Let us not go into the act and the legalities, but a corporation is incorporated as per law, but an organization can be or cannot be registered. But both will have leadership, both will have command, both will have hierarchy. And segmentation of public and stakeholders, if you look at it, the publics are those who have a stake in the organization. What is stake? My stake is my ownership, my responsibility towards it. My ownership is there, my share is there, then my stake is there. Therefore, I am a stakeholder or affected by the organization. Even though you have not invested money, but by the acts of certain organization, you are going to get affected, then you are a stakeholder. Suppose I have nothing to do with any factory that is located here in the vicinity, in the neighborhood. But if something happens, gas leakage or noise or disturbance, air pollution, water pollution, as a stakeholder, as a citizen, as a user of groundwater, as a user of air, I have a stake to question them because I am being affected. Therefore, either benefit or by affection, I become a stakeholder. Public in the key element is the key element in the corporate public relations. There are no general publics in the practice. As I told you, it is always specified public, targeted public, segmented public. What is corporate face? The several things constitute the face of a corporate organization. The corporate vision, corporate mission, corporate social responsibility, corporate governance, corporate brand, corporate philanthropy. Corporate philanthropy, these days we are calling as, the philanthropy has gone, now they renamed as corporate social responsibility, corporate sponsorship, corporate strategy, corporate identity, corporate image and reputation, corporate products and services, corporate conscience, and similar other allied areas constitute the total entity of a corporation and become the corporate face. In all these areas, public relations as a two-way communication process becomes an integral part of corporate planning. The corporate identity of an organization symbolizes the face of a corporation. What is corporate public relations, corporate communications? Let us look at them. The corporate public relations could be defined as to connect with various publics using means such as press releases, social media, products, and events to facilitate the building and managing of good relationship. The International Public Relations Encyclopedia defines the corporate public relations like public relations for a company as a whole rather than for any of its primary functions, protecting the goodwill of a company has already achieved and gaining additional goodwill in the process. Noted public relations practitioners always say that knowing your audience is essential to execute an effective PR strategy. One of the basic functions of communication is know your audience. First of all, after segmentation, you have to know your audience. If you don't know about your audience, your entire communication exercise will go waste. Why the banks, why the organizations resort to knowing your audience? Similar to KYC, every bank in each year or on half yearly basis, they will ask you to file KYC, know your customer, to get to know, so that they communicate with you, so that your funds are intact, so that you are in touch, you are in communication with that particular bank. Similar is the exercise as know your audience. Supposing you are my audience. I am the communicator, you are the communicator. I am the speaker, you are the listener. I am the sender, you are the receiver. There is a communication between you and me. This is not direct personal, but indirect personal communication through a medium that is called Zoom or whatever it is. Supposing you are not the listeners, you are not my audience. Supposing the 5th class or 6th class or 10th class people are the audience, my audience now, just for example. Will they listen to public relations and all these corporate? Why do they need it? They need some other thing. If I am talking to LKG, UKG or elementary school people, they don't want all these things. They want their textbook lessons, or perhaps they enjoy, they receive communication through parables, short stories, some skits, some joking material, some entertaining material. So barriers of communication, if you look at it, what they need, you should tell. There are several barriers of communication, like language, the level of understanding, the age, the psychology, the physiology, the medium of communication, several other things, including noise. Noise is the adversary. If communication is described as God, the noise is called God's adversary. దేవుడు ఒకవైపు, దయ్యం ఒకవైపు. ఏదైతే whichever obstructs the process of communication from the sender to the receiver or to the receiver to the sender is called an obstruction, a hurdle, a barrier of communication. All these things put together is called God's adversary, and that itself is called noise, not the sound. Sound is different from noise. If there is no sound, there is no communication. Sound is everywhere. If without sound, there is no universe itself. Without sound, there is no communication. If I am not making sound, if I keep myself mute, you will not understand. So this sound is necessary for you to communicate. But think of some external noise, maybe a loudspeaker, somebody vendor going across the street, and he makes a big noise, and that disturbs you and me, and that makes a hurdle in the communication process, and that itself is the noise. So that is the difference between communication and the noise. Communication is essential. In communication, there is a sound, essential, necessary sound, but in noise, there is unnecessary sound, and that places a barrier in the process of communication. So corporate public relations aims at the building up of a brand image of a corporate unit. It also chiefly aims at keeping the reputation of the corporate unit at a high esteem in the eyes of the publics. So what are the corporate communications? Corporate communications could be defined as a management function like marketing, finance, or operations dedicated to the dissemination, means giving out. Dissemination means giving out, parting with of information to key constituents, targeted audience. The execution of corporate strategy in the development of messages for a variety of purposes for internal and external publics of an organization. It has also been defined as, we are defining corporate communications. It has also been defined as corporate communication, harmonizing all communication within an organization to ensure consistency with corporate mission and objective. Corporate communications is responsible for the organization's reputation. Corporate communication has taken a new importance in the 21st century with the advent of information revolution. The face of communications has changed itself and concept of global village emerged. The technology has networked the world into a global village. Earlier, 50 years ago, when reported, it has to go to a media, necessarily newspaper or radio, or if the right from 1959, Doordarshan came into being, it has to be put through a medium of communication. All things may not be news. Only when it is reported into a medium of communication, maybe newspaper, radio or television or social media, then only it becomes a news. There may be any happening. There may be happenings happening all around the world, but the thing becomes a news only when it is reported into a medium of communication. The corporate communications and public relations as well need basic media skills. Corporate communications comprehends all communication activities that an organization undertakes. The corporate communications help provide information to both publics within the corporation and outside as well. The corporate communications provide information to external public like stakeholders, investors, and community groups by publishing newsletters at periodical intervals. What are the products? Newsletter, internal, external, house journal, media room in the website, and your blogs, your social media exercises. All these constitute communication exercise. Now the crux, the difference between corporate public relations and corporate communications. Earlier I told you, because I have increased the volume of everything, even the messages are causing disturbance. This is called noise. There is not much difference. We are talking about the difference between corporate public relations and corporate communication. There is not much difference between corporate communications and corporate public relations. Both are communications aimed at communicating with their stakeholders, whatever they are, whoever they are, wherever they are. When public relations was considered as mere media relations by many, and by some other reasons like it being handled by non-professionals, public relations has lost its credibility. The USA people, American people thought public relations has lost its credibility, and as such, certain corporations in the USA and other Western countries have coined a new term for public relations. It is nothing but a new term. It is not replacement. The new term for public relations is corporate communication, and started using it instead of public relations. However, public relations is still used in majority of the organizations in majority of the countries, and is familiar too because it is the predecessor of corporate communication. What is the predecessor of public relations? Maybe propaganda, maybe press agentry. In fact, both public relations and corporate communication, corporate public relations or corporate communication are one and the same in reaching the goals of an organization. Public communication, public information, corporate communication, public affairs, and a host of many other things are simply synonyms of public relations. As I told you in the beginning, public relations is an umbrella term under which many things fall. Public relations is nothing but a two-way communication between an organization and its stakeholders. This point should get into your mind deep and deeper. Public relations is nothing but a two-way communication process between an organization and its public or its stakeholders. Both public relations and corporate communications are one and the same, and both are a part of process of communication, and they need special skills to communicate with the targeted public. Both corporate communications and public relations are the best weapons in the management's armory to handle image problem and many other identity issues. Public relations, again, repeatedly told as an art and a science of communication. It is not everyone's specialty. Generally, organizations will take some talkative people, some unqualified people, other than journalists, other than PR practitioners, other than the people qualified in journalism, public relations, mass communication, marketing communication, advertising, publicity, such other business communication courses, are engaging as public relations practitioners only those people who are talkative, who know something about the society, who are go-getters as public relations practitioners. But that is an unscientific process of appointing public relations practitioners. The public relations practice is both an art and a science. An art because each time it is performed, it can be improved upon. And it is also a science because every time the inputs are given the same inputs, the result will be same. So public relations or corporate communications is both an art and a science, and ordinary people without the relevant qualification and without the exposure to the public relations or corporate or journalism profession, if they are appointed as public relations practitioners, they will be doing the duties of all and sundry. All and sundry. They are just go-getters. So this is where public relations profession gets a bad name. When I joined the government way back in 1981, I was deputed. I joined government services after my brief with sorry. In the year 1992-94, I was deputed to work as public relations officer in Sports Authority of Andhra Pradesh in LB Stadium. So the entire LB Stadium and the sports and games of the country is the responsibility is vested with the Sports Authority of Andhra Pradesh. When I went there to took charge from my predecessor, a chief coach of some discipline, sports discipline, was dealing with public relations, means only media relations. I am telling you the example just to know the professionals and the non-professionals. My predecessor was a chief coach of a particular discipline in one of the games and sports, and he was handling only media relations. It means he was giving out information about the events to the media. So he was designated as public relations officer. And the moment I saw his nameplate, I was shocked. His nameplate read like this: public relation officer. Is it a singular relationship? Public relations, it is always plural. Like economics, statistics, politics, mathematics, it is always public relations, not public relation. If you, having studied MA journalism and mass communication, and also having studied public relations as part of your study, public relations paper as part of your study, if you write public relation, you are a failure. You say it is always, sorry for interruption. It is always public relations, never public relation. It is many relationships with many targeted people. This is what I wanted to pinpoint. Now, what are the elements of corporate public relations program? So the elements being analyze the situation with SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The first two factors, strength and weaknesses, are internal factors concerned with the organization. The other two, opportunities and threats, are usually external. They are not in your control, but you will have to make an analysis, SWOT analysis, before practicing corporate communication or corporate public relations. Set your objectives before going for any communication plan or before going for any communication campaign. You have to set your objectives and then identify the targeted audience. Means segregate the public. Supposing you are working as a PRO or CPRO of GHMC or Metro Water Board or any other, you imagine yourself, you identify the targeted audience. You are given a task. You have to communicate this. These are the problems. These are the doubts. These are the inhibitions about the organization. You will have to clear it. Then you have to identify the target. What are your targeted audience? Who are your targeted public? All the customers connected with the organization. Supposing you are going to target with the you are PRO of a telephone department, and you select your targeted audience who are not the subscribers of any telephone, who are not having any landline telephone, then it is a failure. The sample itself is wrong. Selection of sample itself is wrong. Therefore, what you have to do is You have to identify your target audience. These are all important things in practicing corporate communication. Or when you are in a corporate organization, you practice corporate public relations or corporate communication. When you are working in a government department, if your designation is public relations man or a manager or officer, you have to practice the same thing. The principles are same, the procedure is same, the communication process is same, but only a few things here and there. Strategy to execute a plan, you must lay out and define the media you are going to use. Which is the media you are going to use? Social media or print, electronic. Electronic include radio and television. Radio is audio, TV is audio visual. Or you want to communicate with brochures, notice boards, hoardings, and TV advertisements or new cinema advertisement. You select, you define the media. It depends upon the targeted audience that you have selected. It depends upon the communication you wanted to put through this medium of communication. And then set the calendar timeline. What are the things to be done, when and how? You make a calendar of timeline and proceed accordingly. Fix up a budget. Your management gives you a budget, but you make negotiations whether to increase that or to fit your plan according to the budget. So everything will have to be planned. And then after the campaign is over, or the communication plan is over, implemented, after communication, you evaluate the program and report. PR means performance and reporting. You perform and report. PR also means performance and recognition. If you perform well, recognition will definitely follow. So PR stands for performance. Simply, PR is a big science and art, but simply PR stands for performance is important, and then reporting is also important. PR also does mean performance and seeking recognition. If you perform, if you report, and if you don't get recognition, that becomes a wasteful exercises. What are the major areas of corporate public relations? Similar to the public relations in any organization. Employee relations, you know what is the importance of employees. Communications between management and employees concerning workplace decisions, grievances, conflicts, problem resolution, grievance redressal, and other issues of collective bargaining. A satisfied customer is the best salesman of any product. Underline this. A prospective customer is as good as an existing customer. A satisfied customer is as good as 10 prospective customers or 10 prospective buyers, because he becomes a salesman. He becomes an ambassador for your product, for your service. A satisfied customer is therefore the best salesman of any product. It is the job of every employee who serves the customer should keep the customer satisfied. The marketing, you might have heard about marketing. There are many P's in the marketing. But what is marketing? Marketing starts with conception, with an idea conceived to start a business, to produce these goods or extend this service. From that stage till customer satisfaction, the entire process is called marketing. Though scientifically you can tell many things about marketing, but employees are the first in any organization. An employee willingly involved in the working of an enterprise is the best passport for the growth of an organization. Employees are the pillars of an organization. I told you in one of the classes, employees are the assets beyond balance sheet figures. Beyond balance sheet figures. They cannot figure as just like a real property, they cannot figure in the balance sheet, but they are the assets beyond balance sheet figures. They are the ambassadors. They become mouthpiece. They become salesmen of your product and service. Just like a satisfied customer, your fully informed employee is also becomes a salesman and an ambassador. Well-informed people are always better than well-read people. There is a saying, PR is essential not only outside but also inside. If PR fails at home, it cannot succeed outside. Inta gelichi rachagelu ani antuntaru. So effective public relations plays a major role to achieve good employee relations. Understanding, involvement, and willing cooperation of the employees is an asset to an organization for its overall growth. A two-way communication must be established between organization and its employees. What do employees want to know? They should know everything about the organization. They should know everything is being communicated outside to the targeted public. A message is delivered on accept or leave it basis. That was the earlier situation. Generally, the managements earlier thought of communicating to the employees in one-way process. A message is delivered to them, given to them, to the employees. Either you accept or you leave it. There is no process of communication backward. Feed backward was not there. There is no honoring of the response mechanism. There is no honoring of the reaction mechanism. So, but what PR practitioners used to should try to convince the management that employees are so important, as important as the investment of money for the running of the organization itself, because they are the ambassadors, they are the very foundation, they are the internal stakeholders. That way, the PR department, the PR functionaries of an internal organization, of an organization or a corporation, should convince the management about the importance of the internal public, that is employees. Then have a look at planned communication. Properly planned communication gives rich dividends to managements. The management also should give importance to the views and ideas of the employees. Feedback is more important, but in practice, many organizations give less importance to the feedback. This is where they fail, because vox populi, vox dei, whether internal public or external public. It is a Greek term, vox populi, vox dei. Voice of people is the voice of God. That is one saying, and another saying is there. It is called today's public opinion is tomorrow's legislation, even for the governments. If public wants something, that becomes a law tomorrow. The legislative bodies will sit, discuss, and make it into a law. Previous to that, before making the law, that was the voice of the people. So that was the importance of the people, especially at the present age for the democratic countries. Therefore, HRD, personnel department, public relations department, together they should collect and collate all relevant information and the interesting information and put it before the management regularly for mid-course corrections, if any. Employee relations, PR tools. What are the PR tools that are used for communicating with the internal public? There are internal house journals, internal newsletters, external house. For example, here are some of the names of house journals being published by premier organizations like Air India. They bring out Shubha. I think that is a periodical. Maybe now it is a weekly. If you travel by flight by Air India, you will see a journal that is necessarily a Shubha. Then SpiceJet Airlines, they bring out a magazine. It is not only for the internal public, sometimes it is also placed in the on board the flight. Spice Route magazine, Go Getter magazine for Air India, Magic Cart for earlier Andhra Bank, the present Union Bank of India, Singareniyula Samacharam for the information, internal as well as external sometimes, Singareni Collieries, the coal miners, and Reddy Labs bring out Elixir, NTPC brings out Vidyut Swar. These are all the organizations. And besides the house journals, pamphlets, booklets, annual reports, these are all called corporate publications. Editing and production of corporate publications is the responsibility of the public relations department or corporate communications department. What are they? House journals, pamphlets, booklets, annual reports, posters, advertisements in newspapers, features in newspapers and magazines, and production of audio-visual media, films, CD-RAMs, audio cassettes, podcasting, broadcasting, narrowcasting, and whatnot. These are all the job profile of public relations practice. And face-to-face communication is also necessary, not only through any medium, printed medium or electronic medium of communication. And face-to-face communication is called personal selling, personal canvassing, because the feedback is instant and reaction is instant, response is instant, and the correction of communicator also possible in the face-to-face, instant, direct communication. Then customer relations. Customer is the master. Customer is always right. customers are the lifeblood of every business, whether it is a retail and business to business customers. Customer satisfaction is a social responsibility. It will be good investment if a business house spend some more time and resources for understanding the use of customer. The Lalita Jewelry's proprietor, I don't know what is Mr. Jain, he sold himself by making appearance through media personally. That is called personal selling. Because talking to the customers directly, giving out the information about his organization and his product and about his self is of utmost important, because that builds relationship between the organization and the targeted audience. Good customer relations are the essence of success of any organization, because these days customers have the rights. There is a legislation also, Consumer Protection Act 1986. Even education is brought under consumer protection. Consumerism is a movement in everywhere, not only other countries, also in government. An act has been brought that is called Consumer Protection Act 1986. It gives 6 basic rights to every citizen. What are those? The right to be protected against the marketing of goods, the right to be informed about the quality, quantity, potency, purity of the goods, the right to seek redressal against unfair trade practices, the right to consumer education, the right against consumer exploitation, the right to choose between the products and services. These are all the rights provided by the statute, that is Consumer Protection Act 1986. If you recall Mahatma Gandhi, he said a customer is the most important visitor on our premises. He is not dependent on us. We are dependent on him, because if he buys, your business will grow, will improve. He is not an interruption in the work. If a customer comes, you should not feel interrupted to your telephone talking or your chit-chatting, side talking, cross-talk. He is the purpose of it. He is not an outsider in our business. He is part of it. We are not doing him a favor by serving him. He is doing us a favor by giving us an opportunity to do so, because he is the buyer of our service, buyer of our goods. This is the importance of customer in the words of Mahatma Gandhi. CRM is the new science, customer relationship management. Customer satisfaction is utmost important. I told you, marketing begins with the conception of producing an idea or a product or a service. It lasts till customer satisfaction, because customers, without customer satisfaction, your business will not survive. So customer relations tools are same as the tools that we practice with the communicating with the targeted audience, because your customers is one of the segments of your targeted audience. Then financial public relations, because in corporate communications, if you maintain good relations with the financial institutions and the bankers that give you loans, that gives you advances, that gives you some kind of investment. So not only the institutions and banks, also the existing shareholders. If you give them, if you announce another shareholders, the good customers will again buy and subscribe their money to your investment. Then the targeted public we have discussed in the community relations is very important. Community, because community consists of not only individuals, but also several other organizations like government departments, banks, political executives like elected representatives, MLA or corporator, ward member. These are all important for maintaining community relations. And symbiotic relationship, it means relationship mutual, is called symbiotic. Importance of community relations, it pays several things. Community relations can do many things. Organizations take up a wide variety of things in the name of community relations, like organizing cultural programs, sponsor musical nights, sponsor sports and games, train budding sports talent, planting of new saplings, arrange tree gardens. Of course, these are all have become corporate social responsibility exercises. The corporate philanthropy has become corporate social responsibility, and corporate social responsibility is linked to sustainable development goals, SDGs, because environment has become very important for the humanity to survive in the environment. So deforestation has to be supplemented with afforestation, and planting of trees will add oxygen to the environment. All these things, certain eligible activities have been
included in Companies Act Amendment 2013, whereby only those acts will have to be performed, and budget up to 2% will have to be spent on authorized activities under CSR. So identification of community needs is one area. What community needs, what good community relations, tools of public relations, and evaluation of community relations. These are all the things we have to look into while keeping the global public relations in view, and should understand. We have already studied about what is globalization, and we have already dealt with Industrial Policy 1991 along with Industrial Policy 1948 and 1956. Keep in mind, a question will be there definitely in this paper about Industrial Policy 1948, 1956 and 1991, or 1991 alone, because that is a major landmark. We are in the information era of information revolution. We should keep in mind about the information pollutants like misinformation and disinformation, and about the importance of information literacy and media literacy. Emergence of global public relations is there already, and then public relations strategies, if you can plan them according to your requirement, it will give you the good results. And if you look at international communication agencies, what is news agency? News agency is such agency that gives information, that collects, gathers information and put into a form from where newspapers or media houses buy the news. We have several news agencies in the country, within the state, even in the city. But if you look at certain international organizations, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, is one such news agency because it emanates agency. International Communication Union, ITU, International Program for Development and Communication, UNESCO, Asian Media Information and Communication Center, British Broadcasting Corporation, BBC, UK, Cable Network, News Network, CNN, USA, Reuters, Britain, UK, AP. The AP is called Associated Press in USA, United Press International, USA, AFP, Agency Francaise Presse, France, Telegraph Nol, Agents Co, Soviets Co, Suvaya, TASS, TASS it is called, Russia, Information Telegraph Agency of Russia, again ITAR, TASS. These are all the international agencies. So this is all about public relations and public communication we have dealt with. And to summarize this, with more liberalized rules of economy by Government of India, more number of corporate bodies have set up their units in our country. The future for Indian companies looks very bright because of the LPG and the media policy of the Government of India. Each corporation will have both internal and external public relations. Public relations as a two-way communication process becomes an integral part of corporate planning, corporate vision, corporate mission, corporate strategy, corporate image and reputation, corporate products and corporate services, and other similar allied areas constitute the total entity of a corporation. And in implementing successfully the public relations process, the corporate public relations has to implement important areas of corporate public relations like corporate identity, corporate advertising, issues management, crisis management, investor relations, employee relations, community relations, dealer and supply relations, government relations, corporate sponsorship, corporate reputation, media relations, media monitoring, and most importantly, feedback mechanism. You have to evolve between an organization and its publics, with several other factors affecting global economy like liberalization, globalization, IT revolution, information technology revolution, or information revolution as such, enhanced the need and importance of global communications and the concept of international public. With the increased communication network and competitive marketing economy, the need for public relations professionals have increased manifold. There is a lot of scope after your completion of MA journalism and mass communication. You have scope. You can try your hands to handle, to join an organization, provided you keep on enriching your knowledge of the subject matter specialist first. A PR practitioner is a subject matter specialist, and at the same time, he is a generalist. Therefore, it is said, he is a master of jock of all and master of many, not none. is a jack of all and master of many things. So, however, in order to strengthen the public relations professionally and for its all-round success, the PR practitioners should give importance to adopt 4 milestones for everything. Before you set out, do some kind of research that is called situation analysis. Situation analysis research. Number 2, you plan for it. Make an elaborate plan. And then communications planning, programming, that is implementation process. And then again, evaluation of what has been done. So these 4 things are important in communication. PR practitioners will always have to keep in mind. Thank you very much. With this, we have completed today lesson number 7 and lesson number 8. Tomorrow being Sunday, we'll try to finish lesson number 9 and 10. Thank you, University. Thank you, my dear participant. Thank you so much. Any questions? If you have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, we will conclude because it is already 12:05.
No, sir, everything clear, sir.
Sir,
Any questions, please?
advertising agency and also this corporate public relations slightly same, no, sir?
Yes, please.
Advertising agency there, no, sir, in last semester. And also corporate public relations slightly same only, sir. Slightly.
So there is one difference you will have to keep in mind. There are certain agencies which practices both PR consultancy and ad agency, but there are certain agencies exclusive for advertising only.
Yes, sir.
Advertising in the sense, if you give some kind of information that is to be put on the newspaper, radio or television, they will charge for that. If it is a newspaper, column centimeter wise, they will charge you. If it is radio and if it is television, according to the time slot, prime time or mean time, they will charge you. That is only for advertising. Either. But in PR agencies, they will give you a plethora of services like community relations, corporate relations, targeted public relations, and then including advertisement also. So that is the only difference.
Okay, sir.
You got it? Yeah.
Thank God. Thank you, sir. Thank
Any
you.
other question? Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.